I can hear.
We're
You
live
can hear.
now.
We can hear fine.
Yes, we're live. You can't see me. I'm having a bad hair day. But I would like to say good morning, Patriots, but it's not a good morning, is it? Lots of stuff going on. We got Chuck, we got Sean, we got George. And I thought this would be a good look for me, so I hope you're not upset. Anyway, I don't know where to start because all of a sudden, as Sean said yesterday, this certainly changed the whole programming. But we got a lot of bullet points to talk about. Jeff, hopefully, Bongiorno is coming in around 9:40 to talk about election integrity because we can't forget that. But I got a quote here that I got from Greg Kelly, watching Greg Kelly's show last night, and he reminded us of a quote that Biden had said back in November 2022 when a press conference asked him what happens if Trump decides to run again. This is before Trump announced he was running. Biden said this: "We will just have to demonstrate that he will not take power. If he does run, I'm making sure under legitimate efforts of our Constitution that he does not become the next president again." That's a quote. And the stutter there was written, he actually said that, made a Freudian slip. Chuck, what do you think about that?
You included the pause?
He didn't say pause on this one. He was riffing. And when he riffs, he gets in trouble. And I believe that got him in trouble.
You know, it's amazing when you do go back and look at things. They like to tell you what they're going to do. And sure enough, yeah, they're pulling out all the stops. Now, how they think that, ginning up charges and convicting him of this, sham trial is going to help them. I don't get it. I mean, I think I saw the polling that 18% of the people might have a different idea if he is convicted. But, now that it's all unfolded the way it has, I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's going to bring his numbers down at all. If anything, they're going to bring them up. I've seen so many people on interviews, Dennis Quaid saying, it's the weaponization of the DOJ that's really getting them on the Trump train. So,
but I think the point that Kelly was making was that he basically said that they were going to interfere with lawfare. This was before any of the lawfare happened back in 22, and he's basically saying that this is what we're going to do. Sean, you got anything on that?
You know what, Ralph? For some reason, I couldn't hear you in the beginning. Do you know your camera? You can't see you?
Yes. I did that purposely. I said I was having a bad hair day.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I for some reason, I'm using a different device today, and I didn't realize I had mute on for my sound. I didn't hear the first part of what your statement was. Something about Greg Kelly and about the weaponization of the DOJ. Is that correct?
Can you hear my voice? All right.
I can hear you now. Fine. Yeah, I'm perfect.
Okay. Yeah. I just read a quote that Biden said that what's going to happen if Trump decides to run again was the question. And he said, well, we'll just demonstrate that he will not take power. We will use, what did he say, legitimate efforts of our Constitution to be sure he does not become our next president again.
Yes.
I mean, it's unbelievable. He basically foreshadowed the lawfare.
Absolutely. I remember him saying that comment, but obviously look at New York. I forget the guy's name, but he was the number 3 of the DOJ that kind of went to to New York to work for Alvin Bragg, right?
Yeah, you're talking about Colangelo.
Yes. Could you imagine a Trump organization, the number 3 in the DOJ at the time under Bill Barr, going to Texas to prosecute Obama? How the media would have been. This is just a banana republic we turned into. It's disgusting. Obviously, this is going to be overturned on appeal, but they got what they want to get. They want to say everything's convicted felon. I was listening to the radio this morning, the local radio here, and they said CNN had a chyron up. convicted felon Donald Trump to speak soon. That's what they want to do. They want to keep on throwing convicted felon, convicted felon, convicted felon. I hope the American people are wise to it. I pray that they're wise to it. And I think it's all of us as patriots, people in the chat, people that are all into this. You got to talk to everybody out there when you're at the Wawa, when you're at the grocery store, and you got to let people know this is pure weaponization and it's a banana republic, and have some facts to give to people, which always helps.
George, your 2 cents.
Yeah, here's my 2 cents. Number one, I think all the jurors' checking accounts better be checked, because for some reason, 8 days that they had to think about, I would bet money, any amount of money, that they had phone calls and stuff when they were home. I don't think they were prevented to have incoming calls and made them offers for them to change their mind. How could they hit them for 34 counts? I could see maybe the hung jury, which everybody was basing it on, and maybe 1 or 2 counts, but the 34 that was, and then the jurors weren't given the instructions in the jurors' room. Yeah, they gave it to them right then and there. He read it. I mean, we all know that this is the only big positive thing is this secures his election for 2024. Number one, I mean, and the site that they donated all the money from crashed. So people giving and millionaires are giving plenty of money to Trump with all the stuff that's going on. I mean, it's
Lots of money coming in.
It's got to bite him in the ass, to put it that way.
Well, to get back to your 34, and I thought about this too. I mean, there wasn't one count that they could have found him not guilty on. And I'm thinking Colangelo went there and found a way to link them all together. So if you're guilty at one, then you have to be guilty at all the other 33. And if you're acquitted at one, then likewise you have to be acquitted at all the other 33. I think they were all linked together. I think it's basically the same charge that they just kind of extrapolated into 34 charges. I don't know, but it was like you said, George. It was kind of funny that all 34 he's convicted guilty. Not one charge was not guilty.
Yeah, when I figured those 2 lawyers that were on the jurors, I figured something was going to happen with them. That was the big question. But the time period that they gave him, those 8 days, there was a reason why they gave him those 8 days. So this is the exactly what happened. So I mean, it's just, you know, I didn't think I need the stress test this morning to go for. I think I had the stress test last night.
We all did.
Amazing.
No, yeah. I don't know, but we could keep talking about this.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot to say. ABC, Sean, you texted me that Cohen was going to be on Wake Up America this morning, ABC, which I never watched, and I tuned in for the first time, I think, in my life, just to see it. And it was just a smirking Trump a bit. Did you watch it? Did you see it?
No, I refuse to watch that stuff. I mean, you got a guy like Michael Cohen who everything he says is garbage. I figured I didn't need a stress test today. I figured George was doing it for all of us. Stephanopoulos, the unbiased journalist. That's I put it in air quotes, unbiased, because remember the war room that they did and they attacked people and everything else. He's a scumbag too. So I won't even give him the rating.
Okay, I watched it, and what he did underline was that Trump told him to lie. That lie that he committed on the perjury.
Of course.
He said Trump told him to do that. So he blamed that on Trump. Stephanopoulos went with it, and of course all the shills that watch that program believe it. And that's where we were at with that.
I hope Trump goes after him for the money that he stole from the Trump organization that he admitted to in court. Now I hope he gets prosecuted for that.
That'll be at the end. I don't think it's going to be during the campaign.
Yeah,
no, but I think
what I noticed was I was watching and they had the protest outside, the Trump haters outside with their signs, and their signs were all laminated. They were all professionally made. They weren't like the little ones that Trump has at his rallies that say Trump 24. They were all very no one is above the law. Trump's a crook with all pictures of Trump on it. Very, very well done, very expensive, and just a handful of who knows, paid protesters out there making a racket. But a lot to get to outside of that. But I think we still got to hang on to this for a while because the appeal, which I found out this morning, will not come until the sentencing. So they can't appeal until July, was it 14th or 11th? What's the,
Yeah.
11.
News to me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they should move that.
Chuck, well, what do you think? Sentencing? What's going to happen?
Anything could happen with this guy. I hate to normalize it like that and almost give them permission to lock him up. But that's kind of where they're headed, even if it's for a month or two and then put him on house arrest. They're going to try and cause as much damage as they can running up to November 5th.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I heard Alan Dershowitz talk. I don't know that they have much recourse. They have to appeal it at the state level first, and
It'll take a long time. Yeah.
as Dershowitz would say, and nobody wants to be Dershowitz and get uninvited to the social scene in New York and lose your job. So they're not going to want to overturn it. So it's got to make its way up to the Supreme Court, and by the time that happens, it'll be after the election. So
And, yeah, and they're going to have those
with it.
commercials. All right, I finally got the chat here. We got about 650 in now, so there's shout out to Trix, who's always there, and USN, and we got Jack and Jill, and Love's Christ is there. ML Keith, shout out to all you guys, all you faithful, and it's got to be a tough morning for everybody. And we kind of knew this was coming, but it's still a real bitter pill to swallow. And I hope you guys can hear everything all right, because this is the main thing. And as you can see by my picture, that one vacuum tube that has my face blew out, and that's all you get. But I'm not kidding. Okay, no pick, Ralph. USN, yes. USN, I did that on purpose because I'm having a bad hair day, as I said earlier. And if you believe that, you believe Joe Biden. But there you go. We're working. We're doing the best we can, as they say. And certainly glad that Ed actually gave us a shot here and trusted us with this hour. We're grateful for that as well. There was Shannon Green's comment on Fox, just to underline how Fox is really working both sides here. Did you guys hear that comment she made?
Yes, I saw the whole clip. It was Shannon Bream getting schooled by Alina Habba and red-pilled, I hope, because she basically said the feds weren't involved in this case at all. Alina Habba's like, they made trips to the White House, and it's the same cast of characters. It's Matthew Colangelo. So I think that was a real wake-up call for her. And then, of course, President Trump truthed it out and drew attention to it. So, and it's not just Shannon Bream. I think it's happening to everybody. So that's kind of the good news out of all this. It's really waking people up.
Do you think she got red pilled? See, I don't think so. I think she's just carrying water.
The Fox line. Yeah, maybe so.
Yep. Oh, they had what's his name on Jesse Waters last night, Robert Kennedy Jr. Right? Obviously, I don't know why they keep on giving him a platform, but they give him a platform, and it's crazy. But I just want to get back to one thing you mentioned about the sentencing, Ralph. And there's two schools of thought on Trump's boisterous personality, right? There's two schools of thought to this. Like when he attacks the judge, is he hurting himself? I don't think so, because I think the judge is going to do what he's going to do. I think the script's already written. I think
Great.
I judge. I think the old thing with Corey Lewandowski, let Trump be Trump. I think Trump is attacking. He's calling out the balls and strikes. He's calling out where it's, and he's like Chuck just said. Even with Shannon Bream, he just put attention to it. Trump's great at putting attention to stuff, and I think the more he attacks the judge on these unfair, unbiased, biased charges, and the better he is, I think, to get the message out to the American people.
Yeah, you would think the gag order's off, right?
I think
case
so, yeah.
is done, so he's free to speak. Let it rip.
No,
Well,
they
you
said
would
it.
hope.
I
I
think
mean,
they
I
got
don't know
another.
how this stuff works. Can they keep a gag order on until
No,
it's appealed?
I think for a couple of days they still got the gag order on them. That's what they
Really?
said last night.
Oh, really? Okay.
They said a
What do
couple
I know?
more days. Yeah, but this is all planned. It doesn't matter because Biden was hoping that the conviction was done when he was in Pennsylvania, so he could make that announcement. Which now they're going to make a whole big thing at the White House. Now he's going to come out, but Trump has his people already, so it doesn't matter. They think saying about the word felon that the felon is going to upset people not to vote for Trump, which it showed last night for the amount of people that are giving $5 and $10 and donating money, and everybody else. I mean, people that didn't even want to vote for Trump are going to vote for Trump because about the justice system, and that's the thing. And they even said it. All that fake news media said if he gets convicted, he'll get the White House. They said it themselves. You know,
But
and
that all hinges on a fair election.
yeah. Well, this is the thing. Well, I went to a thing last night. It's about, and he's running for a fundraiser last night that he was running for a supervisor of elections, and he's involved with all the other ones, and even Florida, even state of Florida, that everybody thinks is perfect, ain't happening.
It's
Oh
not.
no! Well, Jeff is. I'm waiting for him to pop up. He hasn't popped up yet, but Jeff is going to talk about that. He's actually running for supervisor of elections for Palm Beach County. But Florida is not perfect. There's a lot of fun going on here.
Oh no, it's unbelievable. But what he brought up, I'll send you the pictures later on. But what he brought up was photos of how the as they were doing their investigations, right? How many Democrats were lost out of the Democratic Party because of the registration voting. You understand what I'm saying? When they found all these fake ballots of these supposedly Democrats, they didn't exist. So when they went through the rolls and everything else, it was amazing how much the Democrats, well, now we're overpowering them with the Republicans, but how many Democrats were wiped out because of all the fake information in the ballots? You know?
In Florida?
Yeah, in Florida, yeah. He did Texas
George,
also.
what's your county again?
What was that?
What's your county?
Oh, I'm in Hernando, but I went to Lake County. There's a guy that he received, believe it or not, the guy that's the town supervisor elections in Lake County. He received $135,000 from what's his name?
Soros?
Zuckerberg. I'm sorry, Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg, $135,000. He was. They found out it went in his bank account. So there's a lot of stuff out there, and like I keep on saying, we have to keep our eye on the ball. And the war in Ukraine's not over, which there's a lot of shit going on there. They found weapons in that the Hamas had, the United States weapons. So I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's happening, and about this conviction. Not only about the conviction, but they're trying to take everything off of Israel and the protests in the street. You know what I'm saying? And everything that's happening around the world. So it's like they want us to concentrate only on these election, that what happened of the 34 accounts. But the whole thing is it's election interference. But his people are true. MAGA is true to Trump, and it ain't going to change. He could pick whatever vice president he wants. They're still going to vote for Trump. And this brought out even more people, I believe.
You're right. Those are off. And you're also right, George, that this is a big distraction because Biden yesterday authorized Ukraine to go ahead and fire missiles into Russia, American-made missiles into Russia. Chuck,
Yeah,
I'm
I
going
know
to
that.
give you
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, well, that's why we
You know,
say it's so
they've been
important about the. I'm sorry, go ahead.
they've been talking about it on War Room that it's been going on for weeks or months now. That it's really American operators or NATO operators that know how to use that equipment that are actually pulling the trigger, and it just hasn't been broadly disseminated amongst the people. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, if like, I'm sorry to interrupt again, but if they come into war, the emergency, he could, the election could stop. I'll put it that way. And
Stop
that's
the
what.
Ukraine.
If, yeah, well,
It didn't
if
stop
Trump
during World
wins,
War II.
yeah,
We have a problem. It stopped in Ukraine because Ukraine is obviously corrupt. We still don't know how corrupt we are yet.
yeah.
I
So
don't
we
know
still
if you
got-
saw Wayne Allen Root's show last night, but
I
he was
missed it.
saying we have a Red Dawn style attacks coming to the U.S. and he's getting this from CIA sources that he's well connected with, and they're seeing it, and they're just dumbfounded why they haven't shared that information with the general public.
They never share information with the general public. I watched that clip that you sent, and Wayne Allen Root he's a bit of a shock jock, but he's right on a lot of accounts. But I think if there's some terror attacks coming, it's going to come after the election if Trump wins.
Yep.
Yeah, you would think it wouldn't really help Biden.
Right.
But if they have civil unrest, maybe it's a reason not to have the elections.
Yep.
Okay, so there's another. Well, wow. It's like I said, I want to say good morning, but it's just not a good morning. Even though we knew this was coming, it's just not a good morning.
The other
This is
piece,
really wake up
the other,
America.
the other piece of that, those sort of news in what he was reporting was that the NSA is saying that they were mandated to leave Afghanistan early in fear of their lives. And they left behind sensitive equipment, one of which creates US passports, valid US passports. Just type in a name, whoever you got, put in a birth date, and voila, they're a US citizen.
Yeah, well, we left a lot of equipment in Chad. Chad, we were asked to be removed, and also Niger, two countries in Africa that we were asked.
Nice.
We left all the equipment back there.
Biden would speed
we
this
get
up so much.
Yeah, about the
And
Red Dawn.
the American people are all focused on Trump's 34 counts. It's actually the American people aren't. I only think a small percentage, but the media is. The media is just focused on the 34 counts, and that's all we're going to hear. We're not going to hear about the missiles in Russia, like Chuck said, the weapons left behind, and the passport program if you're left behind. It's a country in decline, Dawn. We're a country in decline.
We're a country in decline, and you know what? I think it's probably a good time I'm going to read Jesus Calling for today, if that's okay with everybody.
Yep.
Please do. I don't have
Jesus
a
Calling for today, May 31st. The peace that I give you transcends your intellect. When most of your mental energy goes into efforts to figure things out, you are unable to receive this glorious gift. I look into your mind and see thoughts spinning round and round, going nowhere, accomplishing nothing. All the while, my peace hovers over you, searching for a place to land. Be still in my presence, inviting me to control your thoughts. Let my light soak into your mind and heart until you are aglow with my very being. This is the most effective way to receive my peace. And I think,
Amen.
Amen for sure.
Amen.
So,
Chuck, U.S. air crew verified that he read that story about the passports. He said he read that same story in the chat.
Okay. Maybe from a different source, or he saw the same clip.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the chat, so there's not a whole lot of detail there.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Ready?
it's true.
Oh,
The best people are in that
He
chat.
said, now he came back,
Okay,
he said
thank you.
Alex Jones. Said he heard it from Alex Jones.
Oh, okay. Two different
But
sources.
a lot of amens, and thank you, Sean, for reading that. I didn't know what to do with that. We could certainly all use a prayer, for God to just help and help Trump get behind him and make him strong, because we're really going to need him. And I hate to say it, and I don't want to deify Trump. There's a lot of people go off that way, but he's just right now the guy. I think he's just a tool that is being used to get America back to that. I don't want to say Christian nation, because we're a nation for all religions, but we're a God-fearing nation. We're certainly not a satanic nation. Right? We're certainly not a nation that looks at a man and says that could be a woman. That's not the nation we're at. That is not us. But that's what some people are trying to make us.
Can I speak about the Red Dawn thing again, if you don't mind?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're all concentrating on the 39,000 Chinese that came here across the border, but we also forget about the 400,000 students from China that are here, that are military capability. You understand? They're making us concentrate on the border with those 39,000 that came across, and everybody, all these student visas that are here, even the ones from the Islamic states, they have to go back until the country's got to be straightened out here, because for the simple reason is there's going to be, if it gets to the point where that does happen, there's a lot of gun owners here. There's more guns than there are people here, and people don't realize we're going to fight back. It's not that we're just going to sit back and do nothing. Trust me, the word's out there. I got a lot of phone calls last night. It was like unbelievable. It didn't stop. So there's a lot of stuff out there that I wouldn't. We're all talking about our weapon of choice should be the election box on November 5th. That's how we're going to get back about the jury decision. But still, they want to push us to the point to do another January 6th.
Well, and that may come down to it. We will see. Hopefully, that we do have people in place. I am a poll worker. Actually, got promoted to clerk. I'm the guy that basically runs the precinct. But it's a precinct on election day, and
Right.
Very few people show up, because almost everybody's voting early or voting by mail. And when you vote early, those votes are counted in the supervisor of elections office, and that is a fortress that you cannot penetrate. Those boxes go in there and they're counted somehow, just like we saw in Georgia, right? In their supervisor of elections office, where those people running the ballots twice. Whatever goes on in there, we can't see. That's not transparent. The polling place is, the precinct is transparent. We
Poll watchers,
people, we make sure that they're on the list. They vote. They put their vote in the computer. Of course, hopefully the computer counts it correctly. And, there's a whole issue here. There's a whole issue on November 5th.
Well, there's a problem. There was a problem in Mercer County, my county in New Jersey, last election. Actually, last two elections, where machines went down, and there's been lawsuits. There's still ongoing lawsuits. Me, for one, because of it, I'm actually, and I can't wait to vote for President Trump a third time. I will be voting early, and just because I can't wait to vote for him, and I won't be able to hold out those couple of days. But I get what you're saying. But then you look at the last election, last presidential election, when you had places like Philadelphia. It didn't matter if you voted early, late, or in the middle of the day. They were hiding, with planks up on walls. They wouldn't allow people in there, and it was a mess. That's really a travesty, and that's where people, they control it by the sheriff's departments in those counties, because they're democratically controlled. It was a mess. But I know Mercer County, we had a mess the last two elections, and we were like known as the Maricopa County of of New Jersey.
Wow.
Well, Jeff showed up early, and we'll get him in soon. And he is running for supervisor of election, and that's where all this stuff happens. It happens at the grassroots. It happens at the grassroots levels. Happens at the local levels, and people are getting involved. And I mean, there's. I wanted to talk about before we get Jeff in, Chuck. Your little thing about the guy running over the mural again, a different guy in Delray Beach, and the fact that we have Let's All Celebrate Homosexuality Month coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, so there's this mural in downtown Delray painted on the intersection over in Pineapple Grove. It's all the LGBTQ plus whatever flag colors. And some 19-year-old kid back in February was doing donuts and burning rubber over the mural. And now they want to escalate the crime to a hate crime and lock them up for 5 to 10 years. And it's as I understand it, it's the commissioner, the city commissioner that wants to do this. And
it should be a big rally then.
they don't have the power to do that. It's done by the state legislature. That they make all those regulations.
And you said it was going to be appealed. They were appealing it, or what was going on with that?
Yeah, no, they're like, as far as I know, it's just hitting like sort of the red pill people. So Steve Bannon had a local reporter on, and then Anthony Sabatini, who's in the Florida legislature, and he was just saying, the Republicans are so weak, even in Florida, they don't know the laws and how much authority they have, and they could basically get that guy removed.
Yeah, Anthony Sabatini is a good man.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
And he should, face some fines or something for burning rubber on that. I don't want to let him get away with that. But the punitive part is just excessive, and that's what they've been doing with January 6th. And that's what they've been doing with the people, the pro-life people, that poor grandma who blocked an entrance. Now, blocking an entrance, okay, you're not supposed to do that. That's illegal. What did she get? She got 10 years. She got 10 years. And I don't know. That's probably her first offense. 10 years. So they're over the top with the punishment. To me, it's the iron boot of totalitarianism.
And hate speech, a hate crime is any speech you disagree with. They make up their own rules.
Yeah, it's on the verge of a thought crime that you could read about in Orwell, who I think was a prophet. But we got Jeff. I was going to bring him in. See if I add him to the stage. Let's see if that works. I think there's Jeff. Jeff, can you hear us? Jeff.
Absolutely.
Okay, I can remove you. All right, there you go. Is there a delay? Can you hear us all right?
I can hear you.
Okay, so look up about a 3 or 4 second delay. But we're going to go ahead and give you the stage a little bit and let you talk about what you're doing with election integrity and in Florida, and the fact that you're running. We lost your picture.
I don't know if he's trying to put up a presentation or.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do that. I think you got to be in this position. But go ahead, Jeff. You got the floor.
There's a bit of a delay.
A long delay, or he's not.
Or you got us muted. One of the two.
Got it. I think I have a deep state throttle. Now I have a deep state throttle on my internet. As soon as I came in, everything buffered for like 30 seconds. I didn't hear much of what you said after Anthony Sabatini is a good man, which Anthony Sabatini is a good man. And this political prosecution and persecution of the people has to stop. We saw it. What I want to point out is, yes, I'm running for supervisor of elections in Palm Beach County. Palm Beach County is a very corrupt county. There's a leadership capture and there's an administrative capture. And I know this firsthand. I've been lobbying for certain things, and I've dealt with many of the local politicians. And I want to give a couple of quotes. This first one is secondhand information, but it's very telling. A woman, a great patriot in Palm Beach County named Erin, she has been instrumental in pointing out a lot of the irregularities, in quotes, in Palm Beach County and in the voting, counting and handling of ballots, etc., chain of custody. Well, she delivered a 30-page report to Rep. Rick Roth, and they had a kind of a heated debate. And Rick Roth said, no matter what you say, I'm siding with Wendy, and Wendy is the supervisor of elections. So that's very disturbing. We go to town and county council meetings for 3.5 years. Chuck, you were a part of it, and we lobbied to decentralize the vote count, to get away from all this technology, which is only used to confuse and obfuscate. And after three plus years of lobbying every month, hundreds of speeches given, what do? They built what I call the Fortress of Fraud. It's a huge warehouse in Palm Beach County, right by Palm Beach International Airport. It's complete with loading docks to move ballots. It's complete with bulletproof glass. It's about 140,000 square feet. It's worse than a prison. Why do they need such an elaborate fortress of fraud if the elections are legit? And why do we need laws to suppress our reactions or our questions about elections? And here's another thing. The sheriff department has an annex directly across the parking lot from the Fortress of Fraud. So what are they planning and what's going on?
Chuck,
Good
you want
questions.
to tackle that? Because you have been working with Jeff for a while, and I'm helping out as well, not as much as I should.
It's Florida's a red state, and here we go. County by county, these Democrats just try and take more and more control and centralize the ballot processing. It used to be you walk into your precinct and you'd have a fighting chance of knowing who the election workers are, or they know you. And now that's not the case. You're walking in as a stranger and anybody can vote. You don't even have to be a U.S. citizen. So, I'd love to see Jeff get in there and clean things up.
Yeah, that's a great point. But how am I going to beat the person who administers the election? It's kind of an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. I am running for supervisor of elections in Palm Beach County to deliver truth, accountability, and transparency. And we have none. But here's the truth, okay? And we're all guilty of this. Many people. Now, you just accepted and you normalize, well, you don't have to be a citizen to vote. That's a bunch of bullcrap, okay? Article 6, Section 2 of the Florida Constitution clearly states you must be a citizen. Now, if they're not verifying citizenship, if they're not certifying an individual is a citizen, how can they certify an election? It's a fraud. We don't have to go into machines and centralize counting. We have to raise hell and say, listen, you're going to violate, there's a more than zero chance that our civil liberties are going to be disrupted, are going to be abridged because of this non-verification of citizens. And it's a scam. They're telling us, well, we're not allowed to do that. We can't ask citizenship. I combed through federal election law. And in doing so, I found a really interesting code. First of all, the narrative is false. If they want to verify citizenship, they can. That's what I mean by administrative capture. That's what I mean by leadership capture. They all chant the same narrative and then they believe it. Now, what
Jeff,
I found,
Jeff,
yes.
Did you see Catherine Engelbrecht's reporting on federal law that it was changed in 2000?
2000,
And one of the paragraphs was, if you think you're a citizen, then you can't be prosecuted.
It's Title 18, U.S. Code 611, Section C3. And I tweeted that, and she's kind of following me. We did I was up in with Colonel McGregor up in Orlando yesterday, and he interviewed her, and then he interviewed me, and I wrote out all those questions for her. Yeah, a lot of these people, they're raising money. There's a lot of grifters. I'm not calling anyone a grifter, but they are out there. And it's very simple, and it's something that people can understand. How can you certify an election when we have also a statute in Florida that backs up the Florida state constitution? Obviously, the Constitution should prevail. Any law that's repugnant to the Constitution should be off the books. But we have to stand up and say, this is it. This is it. We're going to lose the country. We need a nationwide drive. We have to wipe the voter rolls, and everyone has to re-register and prove citizenship. If we don't, our elections are the same as a friggin' New York City trial.
Yeah, Jeff, you said that your group is also branching out into other states besides Florida.
They're in 43 states. They're in 43 states right now.
That's a lot. So they're doing basically the same thing. They're saying that we got to clean the voter rolls, we got to verify citizenship, etc.
Well, all the parrots, you got to clean the voter rolls, Well, what's that going to do if we're registering illegals? I'll just register them right back. So yeah, but this is my. I've been preaching this for a while, and it's people don't want to go there. So what is it going to take each citizen? 45 minutes to go and re-register? You could do it online. Upload a photo ID, right? You have to verify from Facebook. I mean, to get a freaking account to run political ads, you got to get like 32 different codes. You got to get something in the mail. You got to stand on your hands, clap your feet, and upload your photo ID. We could register voters online, and we just use that multi-factor authentication. You upload your photo, and that's it. It's a total sham. They're registering voters that are coming through the Darien Gap who are not citizens. They're using, in Florida, we call them 3PVROs, third-party voter registration organizations, which, by the way, any one of us can start, and we should. Because if you look at the number, everyone knows them as NGOs, but we have a specific term in Florida for that 3PVRO. So I'm going to call them NGOs. So we have thousands of NGOs. They're going around in Florida and they're registering illegals, but they might not even be in Florida. I believe they're in the Darien Gap and they're registering these people as part of the process when they come into the country. They have what's called, I called this out a year and a half ago with the Social Security numbers as a huge threat. The last four digits being used as identification to register a voter. They're gaming the system. They're using the CBP1 app. What is the CBP1 app? It's like Expedia for travel for illegals. They come, they get a phone, they get the CBP1 app, they look at it, it says go to Eagle Pass, go to Arizona, wherever you're going to go, got your point of entry, you get white glove service, the van picks you up, they take your they take your George Soros funded Disney luggage and your Joe Biden, garb, and they load it in the van and they drive you to processing. But what's happening is they're using this data from the CBP1 app. They're assigning them a social security number, and Mayorkas is under impeachment. He's a criminal, and he's leading this cartel. And it's a fraud because what happens? You get a social security number that gets pushed into the voter registration rolls. The zombies working at the county level under leadership capture, they don't question anything. And then what happens? We don't know who this person is. Mysteriously, they could go online and they can request not one, but 3 ballots using social security numbers that last 4-digit code. The ballot gets mailed to an address to them. We don't know who gets it, right? It gets processed and sent back only using that last 4-digit as a code. So now we have a nameless, faceless person who just offset half of Palm Beach County's vote. It's bullcrap. The people cannot stand for it. We have to demand that the rolls are deleted and everyone re-registers with photo ID, proof of citizenship. You can do it online. If Facebook can do it, the people can do it.
Now, you guys, your group goes to county commission meetings, and I actually posted some on the Rumble site of the last one you guys went to in April, and presented this to our county commissioner. But I guess anybody's allowed to go to their county commission meetings in their county and present the same kind of argument that they want transparent elections, and we don't really have a grasp on illegals voting.
Yeah, anyone could go to a county meeting. And June 4th at 301 North Olive Avenue in Palm Beach, in West Palm Beach, there is a very important county commissioners meeting, and we're trying to get some support. We're going to deliver some information. Here's a little inside baseball. Our group, led by a guy named Mike Zarzano and another guy, Chris Gleason, and it's kind of like a cat fight between these two. I'm so sick of the bull crap. Who wants the credit, who wants more follow? It's a bunch of bull crap. I love them both. They're both doing great work, but we got to come together. We got to put personalities aside, number one. Number two, there was a request to the governor to convene a statewide grand jury about 18 months ago, and this was regarding the quality of life in Florida and the illegal invasion and the ramification that it has on the quality of life in our communities and that kind of stuff. And it was only the 21st time in Florida history that a citizen petitioned the governor, and the governor presented, allowed the grand jury, and the jury came back with what's called a presentment. Now, not only did they come back with one presentment, they came back with 7 presentments over a 6-month period. Now, that grand jury timed out, and that's a great tactic that the left uses, right? Delay, deny, and defend. So this thing is dragging out. But now we have the basis. We have discovery that has been accepted into evidence by a Supreme Court, not a Supreme Court judge, but the proper judge in Florida, saying, yeah, this is true. These guys are killing us. In essence, concerning the quality of life, there's X, Y, Z, all these great statistics. It's really detailed. So now we're going to leverage that discovery, and we're going to add to it what's going on with our elections, and we're going to demand, hopefully, in every single county in Florida, for a grand jury to convene and investigate the evidence that we provide. A grand jury, a county jury, is going to move a lot faster than the statewide grand jury. And, we have these rhino counties that are under leadership capture down here, but there's some pretty good counties up north. And, some of them are bad. I mean, I was on a conference call with 12 other, not 12, a handful of SOE candidates through a great group called, what the heck is it called? Pinella's Watchdog. I'm sorry. They just endorsed me. I should know it. Pinella's Watchdog group. And they're putting together a slate of SOE candidates. And we all did a conference call. And I thought that these guys are in these great red districts and everything's fine. But no, one of the counties, the GOP, the head of the REC, the GOP, we call it a REC in Florida, the guy dropped dead and nobody helped him. He was a MAGA guy. He had a heart attack at a park bench. No one called an ambulance. It's kind of like the guy in head of the Florida Elections Crime Committee. Excuse me. He dropped dead outside his office in Tallahassee, and people are walking over him on their way to get coffee.
So real quick, I just got we had this show's got the best chat people out there. And let's ask a question: where are these people? Did you say they're getting the Social Security numbers from the NGOs? Because is that where these?
Okay, so the NGOs are the army, the ground army. We're funding it with their own taxpayers and donors, and they give them access. They hand them a phone. They get the CBP1 app, and the CBP1 app pushes that pedigree, that data of that person. And I have articles and executive orders saying that, hey, illegals we want you to register them. So this is it's a RICO act, and it's being perpetuated by the NGOs, the Department of Homeland Security, the Social Security Administration, and the local county levels where these registrations eventually end up. And what's even worse is, we watch the seasons change, right? We watch Black Lives Matter and Antifa. They change their uniforms and they become pro-Hamas protesters,
All
right?
the same group. Yep. All the same.
So what do the NGOs do? Well, when the registration period stops and the voting season starts, they take off their voter registration hats and they put on their bandit masks and they go and they ballot harvest. So it's a ground game, an operation that is way, way bigger, better funded than the people. You could do all the Scott Presters in the world, and we're not going to outvote the fraud. We have to wipe the rolls. Everyone has to re-register. Bottom line.
I think the outvote the fraud is the strategy, because there's only 10 million of them, and there's more than 100 million of us. But I think it's going to be so obvious, Jeff, if they cheat. I mean, how are they going to get away with it this time? It's basically a court.
Okay, so it's not going to. So first of all, once that ballot comes out of an envelope and gets scanned, it's impossible. This is planned, right? We don't know which one it is. We have all, it's a secret ballot chain. The chain of custody. Once it goes through that machine, though, it's done. And I can go through a bunch of Florida statutes, so I don't want to get too technical here. So how are they going to cheat? Let's get back to the original question. It's not plausible that dementia Joe Biden is going to be able to beat Donald J. Trump. But all of a sudden, you throw in RFK, and he wins just enough delegates so no one reaches 270, and it goes to Congress, and the rhinos and the people that are blackmailed, and the guys like Matt Rosendale, who's resigning, who's not running for another term because he was threatened, his life was threatened, his family was threatened. He has to come out and speak. Who is threatening you, Matt Rosendale? We need a skiff of the people. We need to sit Matt Rosendale down, and that is going to lead to this tyranny. Who are these people that are bribing, blackmailing, and threatening our local officials? That's what we need to break. But they're going to cheat 6 ways to Sunday, even worse than they did last time. Because when we win, which pray to God and God's will, I believe that Trump will get in. There's gonna be, it's not retribution, it's just justice.
Amen. It isn't retribution, it's just the law. Well said, my friend. And you are running. I think I'm the only one here in Palm Beach County that can vote for you. I don't know if there's anybody else in the chat from Palm Beach County. I don't think there is. You could
go to jeffbongiorno.com, and from there you could follow me on Twitter. That's where I'm dropping the bombs. I have a new bomb to drop, and I'll tell you what's going on. Has anyone ever registered for a vote by mail ballot? I want the bottom. The bottom says Congress, so it's not. I'm not ready yet. I ran for United States Congress, and I got all the inside baseball from there. I mean, we could do this for hours. But first of all, like my shirt.
Old school.
Nice. So here's the I'm an IT guy. I'm a tech guy. I've been doing this since before tech was a thing in the late 80s. And I kind of learned by necessity is the mother of invention. And I had like a little messenger service in New York City, and it was crazy volume, and you had all this tickets and billing and signature. So I kind of got into it on my own. So I'm self-taught. From there, I started a school for IT. I have over 100 IT certifications. So, I'm a common sense guy who knows IT, who's been a candidate. And so I've seen it from all angles, right? And I registered for a vote by mail ballot. Has anybody ever registered for a vote by mail ballot in this group, or maybe any of your listeners? Anybody out there in chat?
I got a vote by mail ballot only because back in 2020 they just handed them out to everybody. But
okay.
I never registered.
Okay, so I got a confirmation email from an email domain called it was confirmation at VR, V as in Victor, R as in Romeo, systems.com. And I said, that's interesting. Why am I getting a third party? And I know they exist, and I know what they do, and it's a layer of obfuscation that's built into the system, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many others. Well, what happened was I said, well, let me check out this domain. It's called a top level domain, right? You have jeffbongiorno.com, you have ralphandchuck.com, and you have vrsystems.com. And it looks like, hey, yeah, we're great guys. We're doing election work. But they have anyone in Florida who requested a vote by mail ballot. They're in the VR Systems database. Obviously, they sent me an email, so I'm in their database. They know who I am. So I checked their domain on a domain called ROBTEXT. So I want anybody in the audience. They don't see this, right, in our private chat. So no one's going to see what I'm typing here, correct? I'm typing something in our chat.
I see it. Not in the chat, but in our chat, yeah.
The audience won't see it. Okay, so I went there and I did a deep dive in.
Here's the deep state getting them.
Their DNS.
It's okay. Your audio just skipped.
Give me one sec. So, can I share my screen? Do you guys know how to do that?
No.
If I present, do you know how to allow me to share?
Yeah, I can get my screen on.
All right, first day with a new toy. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So you want to hit that? Well, you're not sharing. So okay, so I'll just go through it verbally. So if you go to robtxt.com
TEX is what you
and TEX.com, just TEX, like short, robtext.com. You guys could do this now. And so at least one of you guys can, right?
Yeah,
Chuckles
says, welcome to RobText.
Yep.
Okay, I want you to search. I want you to search this domain for me. I'm going to type it: vrsystems.com. So you do. This is how you. I spelled it wrong. Sorry. VR Systems. A little typo. I typed too fast. Systems.
Mine says search anybody by name. It has names, not like a search thing.
Okay, I'm gonna give you, make it real easy since you see this, the direct link. You could just hit that link. You probably have to click on like DNS lookup or something, but you could go right there. You'll land right on it if you hit that link.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to scroll down. There's a lot of digging you could do here, but I want you to scroll down to where it says on other TLDs. Now, a TLD is a top level domain. So scroll down.
Chuck, are you scrolling?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up. I don't think this is very exciting for our Rumble audience.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. Okay, but I want to see your guys' face, your reaction. So try to just hit the link that I sent and just scroll down. You'll see on other TLDs, and I will explain what you have. Where we have a inextricable link between this company vrsystems.com and we have vrsystems.ru. That's Russia. vrsystems.cn. That's China. We have vrsystems.co.uk. That's Great Britain, UK, right? So what does that mean? That means there's interconnectivity between all of these. There is inextricable proof that they're connected, and that's foreign interference in our elections.
It all comes back to precinct with ID hand counted votes. I mean, that's basically it. If you want a transparent election, that's the only way to do it. There is no other way. Any machine, as you know, being an IT guy, can be hacked. There is no hack-proof machine. If somebody can write a program, somebody can break into the program. And basically, that's.
Yeah, and you know what? Let me take this one step further. So I went to vrsystems.ru and I translated it from Russian to English, and it's all about cybersecurity and cyber warfare. And then I went to their wiki page, and their mission statement is it's a communist mission statement. They want to have syndics in every government to control labor. And what is one of the primary goals of communism is to control production, to control the output, to control the people, to make them serfs. So it's all out there in our face. You go to you check vrsystems.ru. You could translate it from Russian to English, search and get their Russian Wikipedia page, and there it is, communism, and they have a control over our vote by mail ballots. And if you ever look at the number of vote by mail ballots that you get in a race, the winner always has like 3 or 4 or 5 times the vote by mail ballots of the loser. And I ran in a Republican primary, so that they love to tell you, oh, it's Democrats the one that they vote by mail, which I think is bullcrap. And Brian Mast had like 5 times the amount of vote by mail ballots, but when it came to the same day and early, we were close. It's a sham. It's 100% fraud. We have to wipe the voter rolls. Everyone has to re-register with photo ID, or we're not getting a fair election.
Jeff, we're going to have to call it there. It's 10 o'clock. I want to thank you for coming in, and I know it was pretty technical for a lot of people. Obviously, you are a professional. You've been doing this, as you said, since the 80s. But it was enlightening. I think everybody in the chat agrees that we certainly are not going to have a fair election if we're voting by mail. We're certainly not going to have a fair election if computers are counting the votes. There's just no way. It needs to be transparent. And what we can do is, as the people in the chat now, and God bless you guys for hanging with us. What people in the chat can pray, can get involved, whatever. Even go out and sign wave. We have sign wavings on Thursday. Jeff, I know you're not a big fan of that, but some people, that's all they can do. And get out there and sign wave for Trump, and make some noise about the unfairness of our elections. And we got to see where it goes from there. I want to thank you, Jeff, for coming in.
Thank you.
Sean, I guess George is getting stressed out now.
George went to his test. He texted me. Yep, he's in his test.
Okay, did he pass?
Well, he's in his test.
Oh,
He went.
he's in there. All right. Okay. Well, anyway, hopefully we'll see you guys again. And we thank Ed for giving us this opportunity. And we thank you guys in the chat. And we're going to sign off.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody have a great day. Have a great weekend.
God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Ciao, you
Keep
guys.
your MAGA hats on. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.